Good evening. Welcome to another weekly edition here of the Championship Show. We've got some loads of games to talk about, including earlier today's game between the top two favourites to go back up to Premier League, Ipswich Town against Southampton, alongside yesterday's games between Derby County and Coventry City, Bristol City at home to Trafford Leicester, and also Leicester City going away to Preston North End, and Swansea at home to Sheffield United, and also Sheffield Wednesday's first game of the season at home against Stoke City. So joining us, usual, is my regular cause, Michael. Michael, good evening.
Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad, thank you. You must be excited yesterday as a Macca fan to come away with a thumping result against West Ham.
Yeah, well, obviously not to make it too much about Sunderland, because obviously this is the Championship, meant to be about the Championship. But yeah, I'm buzzing I'm buzzing every part of my body off. Let's put it that way. Trying to keep this clean, but yeah, never in my wildest dreams, especially when it was 0-0 half time, did I ever think if you told me there was going to be a 3-0 winner, most people would have picked West Ham, which is fair enough. But yeah, screw Chris Sutton, screw AI. So, just going to put that out there. So I'm not a big fan of Chris Sutton whatsoever. So apologies if anybody here likes him, but I I can't stand the guy.
So only people like him is most parts of Glasgow. So don't worry about that. So,
fair enough. I mean, but remember, this is the guy who said Celtic reserves are bigger than Leicester City, which is a load of nonsense. So, I wish I could unhear that. But no, and the result was absolutely fantastic. Obviously, you can hear my thoughts on it, as I've sent just to ignore the fact I'm going to be virtually on the 20. I believe it's Tuesday night. You and Doug are doing
Tuesday night. Yep.
Yeah, so there you go. I've plugged a show for Carl for him. So there you go. Tune into that. And obviously, you can get my quick few-minute thoughts on the game. But no, I am doing very well. How are you feeling quickly about the tomorrow night's game?
Listen, it's 24 hours to go. Bit nervous. First game at home on Monday Night Football against Everton. Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. I think the place will be rocking.
No, absolutely. Well, I'm sure Annie will. Well, spoiler, we've got Annie on here tonight, but I've just ruined it for you. But
don't worry.
Oh, there you go. Well, there you go.
He's now sober after last weekend despite his birthday on the same day when actually Bristol City did beat Sheffield United, and unfortunately could have him on to just give his smugness away. But Annie's here. Annie, welcome to
what I was going to say quickly was that I think he'll know this, that obviously it's a league everybody wants to be in, the Prem, so obviously we'll see what happens with Leeds tomorrow against Everton. But and yeah, let's just say before we started recording, I'm going to embarrass Annie here. Let's just say going through his tweets last week was actually quite funny. But
yeah,
but again, I've always, like I said to him, if you can't get carried away when you win 4-1, then you might as well not bother.
Well, you know what? I can share it on the screen right now, actually, just to be.
No, we'll bully them enough.
Come on, let's not do that. Let's not do that.
You sure?
I mean, I'm not saying I'm not saying it wouldn't be entertaining, but out of respect for our friend, yeah, let's not humiliate him live on YouTube.
Fair enough.
Yeah, please don't.
I'll let you off. You're lucky. You're lucky for once, because if it happens again, I am going to do it. So
we'll see what happens.
I didn't even do anything that bad.
We'll see what happens. See what happens when Bristol City play Leicester. Have Annie versus Anne going at each other. That'll be quite nice.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, for one of us, probably.
That's all going to stay private.
How are you doing anyway, Annie? In general,
fine, yeah. Yeah, fine. It was my birthday yesterday, so quickly became depressing after watching that. But normally is.
There's the Annie we know and love.
Yeah.
So yeah, not doing terribly apart from yesterday.
Absolutely. Well, as I say, you've got a lot to deal with but you've moved to between Coventry and Leicester next month, mate, because you are going to be going to the University of Warwick, which means you're going to be seen out a lot more.
So he conveniently drank out of his glass. They're going, but that's not my business. You know, the Muppet, was it Kermit the Frog?
Yeah.
Oh, GIF, which goes, that's not my business. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can just imagine, like, Annie's just going to sit there in the Leicester end, and he's just going to go, I'm watching Ant trying to do, like, rude gestures and every sign under the sun and everything under the sun towards the Cov fans, and then the Cov fans are just going to start, like, trying to annoy the Leicester fans and everything. You just sit there and just sort of just go, oh, what a day.
Just drinking it in. Just drinking it in. Just drinking it in.
Absolutely.
Well, apart from the football, did you have a good birthday?
Yes, I did. It was fine. Yeah, football was the main talking point, and
Mate,
right.
his birthday comes more important than football, right? Let me tell you that one. I have to admit.
Well, see,
They coincide.
I'm lucky because my football's in the off season, so Sunderland can't directly ruin it or enhance it.
Same here with me being a Leeds fan as well. Actually, I'll be born in July, so yeah.
Fair enough.
Thank you, John. By the way, good. He's a good mate. So
yeah, it's a lovely comment from John.
Yeah, I love a comment. Please, everyone, hit the subscribe button for all content. I also put in both Annie's and Michael's link in the description as well. So please go subscribe to their channels as well too. So as we are on, let's get on with probably the game of the weekend. I will probably say look at Coventry winning 5-3 yesterday against Derby. That was a very interesting result. It was 2-2 by half time. And I have to say, Coventry have now come around to play now. Michael, it's surprising it's taken them after after one game to finally get a win.
I was going to say, so when you said come round to play, I was like, we're only 2 games in, mate. But no, I take the point. Yeah, they don't tend to start well they haven't started well last few seasons, have they? Yeah, no. This is bonkers. Like, I mean, and I'm just looking at the way that the scoring went. So I believe it was 1-0 Coventry, 1-1, 2-1 Coventry, 2-2, 3-2 Derby, and then Coventry scored 3 goals within 8 minutes in the second half, which just shows you why the Championship is probably the most bonkers league in the entirety of football. Because you can imagine that if you asked any Coventry fan in that away end, for example, at 3-2, say a minute before Thomas Asante equalised, oh, by the way, you're going to go and win 5-3. They'll go, all right, whatever. But yeah, I've got to say, mind, and if I remember this rightly, the goals from I think it was Bobby Thomas and Elder from Derby as well. Were they both free kicks? They were stunning efforts from what I remember seeing.
Callum Elder was a free kick. I think Bobby Thomas one was a header.
Header, yeah. Bobby Thomas was a header.
I'm thinking of that. I'm sure there was one of the Coventry goals was a well worked goal, but maybe there's that many bloody goals that I've just lost track of which one it was.
Who knows?
But having said that, yeah, I mean, look, obviously with Coventry, they had a pretty meh draw against Hull last week, didn't they? So obviously for them, it was important to get a win as soon as possible because we all know that the problems historically with Coventry have been starting slowly. And I've just realised here, looking at the match report, 5 different goal scorers as well, which will probably be good for confidence for everyone. Obviously, like Bobby Thomas, you don't expect to score every game. But particularly for like Hadji Wright and Thomas Asante and Mason Clark, for every one of them to get goals in amongst it is really, really good. And it's good character, considering that you've obviously were 2-1 up, then gone 3-2 down to come back and end up winning 5-3 and away from home as well, by the way, because there's still quite a lot of optimism around Derby given the summer they've had and given how they ended last season. So that's not an easy task to end up going to. And Derby gave a few teams quite a good go at Pride Park last season. Because I can see Annie's look on his face there, so we'll not mention that.
No, the less the better.
But I mean, like for example, like Burnley drew 0-0 there. Shock, because obviously Burnley a lot of games were 0-0 last year, but still they didn't win away at Derby. I think Sunderland and Leeds only just won by 1 goal. I think Sheffield United only won by 1 goal, so it's not an easy place to go. I think from Derby's point of view, obviously the good thing from Derby's perspective, it's back-to-back games that Carlton Morris has scored in. Obviously he scored from the penalty spot. But yeah, I would imagine John Eustace would have been tearing his hair out about conceding 5 goals because John Eustace, in fact, 8 goals in the first 2 games, come to think of it. Because obviously John Eustace built the foundation when he took over at Derby last year, being rock solid defensively and being able to nick games, which is what ultimately saved them and kept them up. So no panic. I wouldn't say it's panic stations for Derby, of course not. It's 2 games into the season. We all know that within flick of a snap of fingers, everything can just change. But for Coventry, it was important certainly to get off to a winning start away from home after last week.
Yeah, absolutely. I think hopefully Coventry don't have this another slow start, and hopefully they can go on.
I'll hope for it.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's Ant for you. So
of course it was. And try to piss people off. Never. That's not him. Just as much as he loves Conor Cody.
Yeah.
I wish he was on right now. This would have been so funny.
I bet he'll come out at some point.
Probably,
me.
Yeah.
He will. Yeah, he will do.
Michael, and we're talking about Leicester. Right, I'm going to go off and slag every one of those useless Muppets on camera. But yeah, no, but very, very important win for Coventry, as you said. Yeah, it's important for them not to start slowly again.
Yeah, absolutely. Go into today's game at Portman Road. Annie, Ipswich Town drawing 1-1 against Southampton. Tell how Bellis own goal, fortunately forfeit, but Jay Robson finally getting his first goal, his senior goal for Southampton. Out of the teams, who actually came out better in the end? Southampton than Ipswich?
I don't
Quite an
know. I
even game,
think
wasn't it? Really?
yeah, it was. I don't know. They are two of the strongest teams in this division. They both had like parts, especially first half, has sort of ebbed and flowed a little bit, and
Yeah.
both teams had periods where they were on top. I don't know. I think Ipswich still have sort of things they need to fix in the transfer market, particularly the central midfield. They also now sold Amari Hutchinson. They've sold Nathan Broadhead. Lots of money's come in for both those players. So reinvestment has to be done. There's a striker they were linked with quite heavily from Como. That deal has fallen through. Kieran McKenna said so in his post-match interview. So they need some real additions, and that will probably run till the end of the window. Southampton's team are a little bit more stable right now, but that could change because Fernandez is still there, Dibling's still there, who could be easily sold for a lot of money within a few days. So I think they're two intriguing teams. They're probably still. I don't think much has changed after 2 games. They're probably still my two favourites for the automatic promotion places, and most people's favourites. So yeah, it was a good game, and I thought Ipswich are pretty decent, and they were much better than they were at Birmingham, which is an improvement. I thought Southampton were good against Wrexham, but also got a little bit lucky because Wrexham, despite not being on the front foot and being sort of creating the most number of chances, they had good chances to win the game and seal it at 1-0. Ryan Hardy's one comes to mind, but yeah, they I think they'll be very pleased with how they've started. In Ipswich, well, they've probably played two promotion chasing teams, and they've got away without losing. So it's probably a good start for both sides, and a lot of work will probably have to be done for both sides up until the end of the window. But yeah, Jay Robinson looks like a really good player. He really impressed me against Wrexham. He caught my eye, and I think he'll be one of them players who. It's always sort of encouraging when a team gets relegated and there's a bit of turmoil and there's a bit of churn, and a youngster starts for them, really like in either in midfield or in one of those wing positions where you're directly affecting the game, you're directly involved, and you just see them catch the eye and you're like, okay, yeah, this guy can play. So yeah, he looks good, and hopefully for Southampton, another asset in what is a brilliant academy, and has produced again. Tyler Dibbling, I think he was from the academy, and over the years they've had multiple players who've been sold for ridiculous amounts of money, which has enabled them to stay in the Premier League for so long. So yeah, a really good player, and for Saints fans' sake, we'll be hoping to step up nicely in the Championship and produce good numbers.
Absolutely. Michael, coming on to those two players, what Annie's mentioned with Tyler Dublin and Mateus Fernandez. We know Tyler Dublin's been linked to move to Everton. The Southampton said did not make the valuation around about 40 million, 45 million at least. And with West Ham being linked with Fernandez, would Southampton be happy to keep at least one of the two players come to the end of the transfer window? Who do you think which one will stay beyond the transfer window?
If I had to say which one I think is more likely, what's the quoted price tag for Fernandez?
For about 25, 30 million at least.
Really? I thought it was more than
I
that.
thought it'd be
You know
about
what Southampton's
35.
like? Yeah.
I think if you're asking me, I think which one I think is more likely to stay, it probably would be Dibbling, based on the fact that if they won 45 million at least for him, a lot of clubs will see it as we're paying that for a player that's just got relegated when you've got 12 points all season. Now, I know that that's not a fair way to look at it because it's not just down to one player, it is a collective. And obviously there is a reason that Tyler Dibbling and Mateus Fernandez are sought after by Premier League clubs because they obviously have feel they have the ability to play there. So if you're asking me quickly before you get on to your point, I would say probably Tyler Dibbling's more likely to stay because I think he'll get priced out of a move.
Yeah. Well, the CEO of Southampton came out a couple of days ago that they value Fernandes £50 million, but
Well,
it's
50, 50.
50. Yeah.
Okay, I changed my mind then. I think Fernandes is more likely to stay then if it's whichever one's valued more is probably more likely to stay. I would think.
I thought Wilson Dibley
Fernandez
would
is
be
really
value
good.
more.
But it
But
depends though, because yeah, I mean, if has anyone come in with a concrete offer at 50 million then?
No,
West Ham apparently bid slightly below or something.
it was around about
I
20
have
to
no idea.
25 at
I was going to say
least.
that's not slightly below. That's like less than that. That's
That is
half of the
quite, below
valuation.
half the value. Yeah.
The only way I
So
could think of is, well, maybe who knows? Maybe West Ham, maybe Southampton might approach it and go, well, all right, then I'll tell you what. If you give us, I don't know, 30, you give us 25 million, and then we'll have James Ward-Prowse back off you. I don't know.
Carl Walker-Peters as well, yeah?
Yeah, why not get the band back together? Of course. Yeah, I forgot you went to West Ham. But yeah, no. So yeah, I don't know. It's a fascinating one. I think the good thing for Southampton is that they're in a position where obviously parachute payments, as Carl and Annie, you both know this. Parachute payments obviously help you keep players longer if you're in the Championship, as long as you do have them. Not always, because some of them will want to be beyond above the Championship. But I'd be very surprised if both of them went. I think one of them might, but I think Southampton's point of view is if they can afford to keep one of them, why would you let them go unless they really, really want to leave? And by all accounts, even if it sounds like Tyler Dibbling and Matthias Fernandes, it wouldn't surprise me if either of them want to go be in the Premier League. But they've clearly neither of them have kicked up enough of a fuss about it because they're in the matchday squad. Either that or they're hiding it extremely well when they're playing. One of the two. So, yeah. If that's the case, then all right, I'll change my mind. I think maybe Tyler Dibbling, based on what you guys have said, I think is probably the more likely of the two of them to stay. But would it surprise you if both of them stayed?
Yeah,
Just purely from a
that would
price
surprise me.
perspective.
Yeah, I think that surprised me.
Yeah,
One
I
of
could
them
see that.
definitely goes.
Yeah, I would. I'd say I think that's probably about right. I think personally for me, it all depends of how negotiation of the prices. So if West Ham, for example, bid so considerably lower than 50 million, then you're not going to get further unless you significantly up your offer. But then again, West Ham sold kudos to Spurs, didn't they? So
yeah, for
they
50
should
million.
really be in a
Yeah.
position to go and bid for someone like that. But yeah, and I don't think they've spent that much either, come to think of it. But I could be wrong on that.
No, they haven't spent that much. No.
No.
Well,
They signed, what is it? Diouf for quite a bit of money, Czech, Slavia Prague or something, for 30 million or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, that would explain why they made.
I'm no expert on the Premier League, put it that way.
Well, hopefully, I think for me and Carl, we hope to become that, but we still love the Championship, obviously, hence why we're doing these. But no, yeah, okay then, fair enough. But I think, again, from Southampton, and this is the thing, when you're a year one parachute team, often teams can afford to keep players that people expect to leave. So just as an example, right, if you look at Leeds, when they came down, they had, like, what was it, Somerville still there, you had Glenn Kamara still there. Obviously, well, not quite Andre Gray, because he obviously came through the academy, I believe, didn't he?
Gray.
Yeah, so obviously that's a little bit different. But then you're looking at Jorginho Ruta. So Somerville and Ruta are the two biggest examples. Being a year one parachute team meant they could afford to keep those players, and particularly from a PSR perspective. Whereas the second season, obviously you lose that liberty to have to be able to keep them. So let's put it this way: if one of them goes this window, if Southampton don't go up, then the other one will definitely leave next summer. Put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, hello, Ant. As a lifelong Mackham, I am so proud of our performance.
Fair enough. Oh, you gotta love it, and hilarious.
Absolutely, he's too hilarious, man.
It's just funny because for those of you who don't know, basically in the group chat after Sunderland beat West Ham, and I think it was the time Leicester lost to Preston, he was going like, "Oh, I'm an absolutely lifelong Mackham. Oh, I absolutely love them." I'm like, "Yeah." I think he probably has got a soft spot for Sunderland, but it is quite amusing the way he goes on. But quickly on Ipswich Southampton, I think because I want to get my 2 cents on this game. It was very frantic actually. The first half was very fast-paced, energetic both ways. Both of them seem very determined to play out from the back and play very, very risky strategies doing that, to the point where I was surprised that there weren't more goals than 1-1. But Ipswich started really quickly, and I think deserved the lead even though they only took lead after about 4 minutes. I thought it was deserved because they were the ones that were pushing the ascendancy. Southampton obviously grew into the game and got an equaliser, and then from that point, I think by the end, both teams were content with a point. And that's probably the best way to put it. I think Southampton away at Portman Road would probably be the happier of the two, especially given they were 1-0 down as well. So, and from Southampton's point of view, you could say, well, you know what, 4 points in the first two, obviously, and it's actually probably good for confidence if you think about it, because they scored 2 late goals to beat Wrexham, and they've come back from 1-0 down away at a team that's expected to at least finish in the top 2 and get something. And considering how much they got battered in the Prem, that is probably a good way for Will Still to try and build confidence. And I'm quite glad that Reece isn't here, because otherwise he'd have me decked with his Will Still stuff. So let's just ignore that. But yeah, no, so I think good start for Southampton. And yeah, I think Annie's got a fair point on Ipswich. I think when they've played Birmingham away from home, bearing in mind they are a team that's expected to, that's fancied, I should say, to challenge at least for the playoffs. And at St Andrews, after they've just got promoted on 111 points, that's very and for anyone who did watch Birmingham Ipswich, that atmosphere was raucous. It was loud. So I think, and Ipswich didn't do the. So but I think the good thing for Ipswich, it was a much better performance, as I said, that they were against Birmingham. So I think not the end of the world for Ipswich.
No, absolutely not. Let's get into some more messages. He's put the
he's going full in on the Sunderland thing, isn't he? And
yeah,
how are the lads?
Good evening, Michael. Yes, I'm glad to you're joining us tonight as well, even from us three as well. And on a positive note, Conor Cody is still shite.
It's all right. I'll just put that instead. Let's just pretend that he didn't send that when Sunderland played Coventry in the playoffs.
Yeah. John Morell said Foxhampton did well in this, but you could tell both sides are finding their feet. Yeah, that is a good point. How these two teams, especially early start of the season, they're heavy favourites to both of them and go back up. So yeah, it's a good thing they got the
At the minute, you'd fancy them to be the top 2, I think.
Yeah, I do. I really do. I think it depends what Leicester does. If they don't get no points deduction, then maybe I could have said Leicester. But at this moment, they're my top 2 favourites at the moment.
Yeah, I mean it's one way. It's the only difference with this, but again from an Ipswich point of view, is that you're coming off like last time in the Championship, they relished in the underdog sort of story, if you like. Yeah. Whereas here there's obviously expectation on them. But even with Amari Hutchinson going, for example, I mean, come on, Chubrak Pom, Jack Clark, Jaden Philogene, Sammy Smodics, Ogbene playing there, Ben Johnson, Leif Davis,
Connor Chaplin,
Connor Chaplin, yeah. Jacob Greaves, Muric is still there. Like, there's a lot of.
No, he isn't. No, he isn't.
Did you know? I thought he's still.
He's gone. No. I don't think they want him there. To be honest, he's gone to Sassuolo. He's on loan, I think. There.
Well, that tells a lot. All right then. Never mind. Ignore me then. But yeah, the point is that's a good squad that Ipswich have got. So I think it's just about sort of finding. I think obviously, like Andy said, I think they could still do with another central midfielder, particularly one that's like a sort of pivot player that could really sort of help control games from midfield. And particularly when they're away from home as well. I think that's going to be quite handy. But yeah,
sounds like they need Hayden Hackney.
Wonder how that went.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to go to talk next week for a good group booing session.
So good luck scoring against them.
Why is Ant booing Charlton players? What have they done to him?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh God. Actually, let's go on to one of the other teams that's vying to get into the playoffs. What a turnaround from Birmingham City to win after 1-0 down in the injury time. Jade Stanton scored the penalty in the 9th minute, and in the 90th minute, Lyndon Dykes scored the winner as well. Annie, what a turnaround when Blackburn could have stayed in the lead for much towards the end.
That second goal, Damari Gray. My God, that. We kind of go on the impression that this guy might be too good for the level if he's at it. Obviously, doubts because he's not played in England for a little bit, but yeah, the guy's quality. I mean, Birmingham have recruited quality, and when you've got someone like Damari Gray who knows the club, loves the club, wants to play for the club, and just after that ball goes in the back of the net, the reaction from him, I think, just paints the picture in itself. Birmingham. I know I didn't watch the game, obviously, but yeah, it looks like they probably deserved it, and obviously really frustrating from a Blackburn perspective to concede 2 goals that late on. But I think Birmingham are going to Birmingham. I mean, they're going to control games. They're going to pass the ball around really well. They're going to keep you moving. They're going to they're going to really, sort of pen you in when they can. And Birmingham at their best, they're going to create loads and loads of chances and have loads of territory. And that you're not going to be. It feels like you can't touch the ball off them, and that is what peak Birmingham looks like. It might still take a little bit of time to get it fully going because of the new players that have been brought in, but the general feeling is they've started really well. They put in a really good performance on opening day against Ipswich. They were really good. I thought they definitely deserved the win.
No, they did deserve the win, didn't they? Yeah, they were easily the better side.
And from all that's been said here, it looks like they probably deserve to win the game. And even if they didn't, they've still won the game. And even if you put in a bad performance in winning games, and we said this about Ipswich, didn't we? And that's a direct comparison between Ipswich and this Birmingham side Ipswich from a couple of years ago, is that new promoted League One side, you want to use that momentum. And when you're winning games late, even when you're not particularly playing well, or you take a 50-50 and it just goes your way, and that's it. There's the goal. That's normally a sign of a team using the momentum and just having that winning feeling, that muscle memory of, right, tight game, we win it 1-0. And Birmingham didn't blow a lot of teams away in League One. Okay, yeah. Teams could barely get anywhere near their goal, but it wasn't like 5-6 every week. It was typically 2-0, maybe the odd 1-0. And that could bode well in the Championship because they're going to have a lot tighter games and they're going to have a lot more, 50-50 games. And those coin toss games, again, Ipswich, a couple of years ago, they won pretty much all those coin toss games. And if Birmingham can replicate that to a certain extent, because they've done it in League One it wasn't a coin toss game in League One, but they won games narrowly. Well, it can't hurt, and it's probably going to mean they're going to win a lot of games, especially at St Andrews, where it's going to be loud, it's going to be noisy, it's going to be so difficult for the opposition to go there and get anything. So, a brilliant win for Birmingham, and to see those limbs from 7,000 Blues fans right at the end.
The limbs, absolute limbs, yeah.
Big away end at Blackburn. Oh, yeah, brilliant. And I think, as I said at the start, Damari Gray just embodies what they're trying to build there. So, good win. First win for Chris Davies as well, and probably good to get that sort of ticked off. And that's not an easy place to go, Blackburn, either. So, a very, really impressive win.
And by the way, just to point out, nothing beats a 90th minute winner, does it? Like a last minute winner when you're away from home, especially when you're away from home and you're in that sort of crowd of, what was it? Probably, I'd imagine it would be something like 7,000 that Birmingham probably would have been allowed to take. Because Blackburn are quite good with their allocations for away games. So, I can only imagine how the limbs must have been when Dykes, was it Lyndon Dykes that scored the winner?
Lyndon Dykes scored the winner, yeah.
When Dykes scored, you can imagine. And bear in mind, again, remember, Birmingham 1-0 down going into the 90th minute as well. So, that's 2 goals in 8 stoppage time minutes. So that's incredible stuff. And it's like a momentum, isn't it? Like Andy said, even if they didn't batter many teams in League One, at the end of the day, like they got used to winning games, obviously, because they got 111 points or whatever it was. So, it's like one of those things when you sink into a rut that it's obviously hard to get out of. When you're getting into a winning habit, it's hard to stop.
It is. It's really hard to stop, especially coming from being League One champions. And like you said, they're going to be more tight games this season than they did last season. So I think, Chris, to come away with that is, in the after 90 minutes of being 1-0 down, you got to take the opportunity. But like I said, give credit to Chris Davies and the Birmingham team to get that win at the end as well. Going into the messages in the chat is it's translated over £75 million in player sales. Yeah, that's true, Michael. They have done well to recoup that lot of money after last season in the Premier League. And said Damari Gray's dog shy. I won't be told otherwise. He's also said Blackburn small club losing 2-1 to newly promoted club. John Morrell did come. He said didn't deserve to win. A draw was a fair result, but I agree with Annie. Gray was a different level. Yeah, absolutely. Especially for him to assist that winning goal was tremendous. And Ant said at Ipswich, mind the gap.
I will point out in Ant's defence here that I did kind of jokingly in some group chats put the table of the Premier League and said, "Oh, Newcastle United mind the gap of 2 points after one game," but just ignore that. We know we're going to finish miles behind them. I've got to milk it when I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's just Ant being Ant as ever, to be honest. What's he doing in the chat, by the way? Ant, get yourself on.
I know. Because we are going to talk about Leicester shortly. So you might as well come on.
And he's going to go, no, I don't want to go on now.
Should we talk
He
about
will
Leicester
come
now
on.
and just rub it in?
He will come on. Don't you worry. He's gonna, he needs to say what he needs to say. So we might as well.
Let's have a passionate Antian style rant. Go on.
Don't worry, I'll be giving him the spotlight when he starts. He starts how many minutes of the rant he's gonna go on for. So let's just
And how he's going to go, well, Saturdays are shit. I hope Conor Cody's feeling the same, the prick.
I know.
You could just put me on.
Should we talk about Leicester now then? Just while Sam.
And I'll tell you what, will you come on if you promise to talk about Leicester and get it out of the way while you're not
yeah, no, that's a fair point. Yeah, we might as well.
But then we'll just casually bring it back up when he comes on.
Yeah, I don't know about that one because he will say he'll put.
He'll probably be like, "No, I really can't be bothered." Then.
Well, actually, let's get the Leicester ones out of the way. Actually, as I said, Michael, I was surprised of the result yesterday. They lost to Preston 2-1. I have to say, at least Jeremy Munger, again, he's broken the record. He's the youngest player to score in the Championship, which is good for him. But it wasn't a good performance from Leicester yesterday.
By all accounts, from what I'm seeing of it, it wasn't. And I've got to talk about the first goal. I think it's the first Preston goal. What the hell their keeper's doing? What is the keeper doing this? So when obviously I'm trying to get the. I can't. Honestly, it's one. It's one of those that someone does so bad that you were actually stunned watching it, and absolute astonishment. So basically, when Preston ended up, I'm trying to get it up. So basically, when it was Alfie Devine. Have I got that right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to remember who the hell was in goal for Leicester.
Stolarczyk.
Yeah, right. Now, and to be fair, I've spoken to him on YouTube. He was of the impression that Stolarczyk is actually quite highly rated among Leicester. Now, obviously, I believe he's a young keeper, but I could be wrong on that.
He is. I think he's from the youth academy. That
would make sense. Hence why Hermanson was allowed to go to West Ham. And cheers me for letting in 3 goals yesterday. But anyway, moving on from that one. Yeah, Stolarczyk, I can't believe it. Now, obviously, he's a young keeper, and he's going to learn through experience when to go out to try and get to a ball, or when it's a lost cause and stay near close to your line. But when Alfie Devine's just made you look like a right muppet and has ended up scoring, that obviously puts Leicester on the back foot straight away. Obviously Jeremy Munger.
What a finish! What a finish, by the way.
No, it's a great finish, but it's a comical one to concede from Stolarczyk's point of view. And by all accounts, actually, I'm just looking, and again, if you want to believe in the XG hipsters stuff, Preston's was more than double what Leicester's was.
Yeah, 2.2.
So bear in mind, Preston were one of the teams talked about in conversation for relegation at the start of the season. Not necessarily to go down, but be struggling down the bottom. So, basically fall below their mid-table bracket that they usually tend to occupy. But from Leicester's point of view, this is a shocking result. This is whether the performance was good or not. It's just not. It's not good enough for them. And I think. And we were talking, so obviously, anyway, Jeremy Munger scores, and obviously Osma, and even if you don't play well, you get something out of it, don't you? At the very least, if you come away with a 1-1, it's not a great result by any means, but it's far from the end of the world. But then, obviously, Osmajic, to be fair play to him, he's already single-handedly earned Preston 4 points. 3 effectively, because we were drawn before he scored. But the point is, he scored a goal to get them an equaliser at QPR, and then obviously and the match winner here, which is really vital for them, obviously. But yeah, from Preston's point of view, I'm sure I'll see if Ant finds the stomach to talk about it, I'm sure. But the impression that obviously, as you guys know in the group chat, Ant was giving off the impression that it seems like a lot of this Leicester squad's phoning it in at the minute. Now, I'm saying that from an outsider's perspective. Ant will know much better than I will. But if I don't like football, for those who can't see Ant's thing is I don't like football. But yeah, let's just say it's. If you're at the point where you feel like your squad's not given anywhere near 100%, it's a horrendous feeling when you know that a lot of fans would live and die to put the shirt on. And if a lot of them are just sort of scrolling through the motions, then you just kind of think to yourself, well, what really is the point? And Yeah, I mean, if you cast your mind back to, like, say, actually, funny enough, Preston was Leicester's last away game in the Championship, and then the first one this season. And the contrast between the two of them is just completely night and day, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
yeah, from Leicester's point of view, I mean, no, don't get us wrong, it's silly to point too many fingers at Marty Cifuentes because it's only 2 games. Well, 3 if you count the Cup. But even in the Cup, I want to mention this quickly, against Huddersfield, because I did watch it.
So did
The
I.
second half. Huddersfield were actually really good. Leicester, for the quality they should have had on that pitch, were really, really poor. And I was actually and although obviously you can say Huddersfield away from home, not going to be an easiest place to go in the Cup because they'll be up for it. But, and I know that the Cup isn't Leicester's priority this year, which is fair enough. But yeah, to lose to Preston's a really, really poor result. But you've got to credit Preston, though, to be fair to them. So I'll get this out of the way before Ant has his say. But Preston, great result for them. A solid point away at QPR. And beating Leicester at home. And it's obviously going to be doing good for confidence. And remember, obviously ML Reese, whatever people think of him as a player, was their top goal scorer, I think he was, last season.
He was.
So Osmajic to come in and effectively step up, after everything that happened around him last season, was obviously quite encouraging for Preston as well. But here we go. Let's see how. Let's hear Ant's rant.
Can't tell me camera on, but right.
You're longer here, as you hear, that's fine. I knew I was going to add you until Michael's going to finish his saying, so don't worry about that.
Fine. Well, what can you do? Can you add a picture of the Hulk or something on Ant's profile? Because it might be how he's feeling towards Leicester at the minute.
I genuinely, I'm at the point where I don't, and this sounds really bad 2 games into a season, I actually could, if the players can't be asked and they're just going to walk around the pitch, I genuinely can't be asked to have sort of the hump with them. It's like, I've seen plenty of crap Leicester teams in my time. The thing that's frustrating is you've got players like Harry Winks, Yannick Vestergaard, Wout Faes walking about the pitch. It's like, that's what's frustrating me. It's like, I don't care if these players are putting everything in and they're losing, but you've then got Fatawu coming out, and I love Fatawu, but you can tell it was very, very purposefully done coming through him. Of say, I'll try and find the quote that what he said this morning, because he came out on Twitter. And bear in mind, a player coming out with a statement on Twitter 2 games into the season, never a good look. So disappointed about the game yesterday, but as we say and believe that Foxes never quit, which is some club slogan bollocks that they like to push on marketing. Foxes never quit apart from half an hour into every game where it gets a bit tough. But anyway, then it's too early at this stage of the season to seeing fans leave the stadium so early. I'll pay my fucking ticket. I'll leave when I want, thanks. But this is a time when we need you. You can't be celebrating wins with the team and then don't want to lose with the team. I'll tell you what, I don't mind losing with a team if they put some effort in. This is a game of football. You can't be winning every game. You need to everyone on your side, proud to celebrate victories with the team. This is a time to stick together, be strong, and make this team get where they deserve to be. Thanks for travelling fans for your amazing support, but we need more. And congratulations, Jeremy Wonga, for your first goal. So it's basically he's coming out after 2 games, calling out the fans for booing the team and for leaving early. It's like, brave man. That's all I'm going to say. Because thing is, I know it sounds like it's 2 games into the season, but it's also a carry on from last year, where there was so much frustration of you seeing big name players just walking about the pitch. And it's like, I think Harry Winks, when he's putting a shift in, is probably the best midfielder in the Championship, or at least up there with them. Whilst he's walking around, I would genuinely rather see Hamza Chowdhury, who cannot pass a football to save his life, play in midfield, because at least he's going to run a bit. And it's like, I don't know, I just feel like that there's this dressing room's rotten to the core, and it's like, it's not Marty Cifuentes' fault. I'd genuinely rather us play the kids to the end of the season than half of these big name players who couldn't give a shit.
I was just looking through Leicester's Twitter, actually, because I was curious to see obviously the reaction of the fans after the game's never going to be good. Of course it's not going to be. But this comment stood out to me. And And I'd be keen to see Ant's particular opinion on this, but everybody's really. So this is from James Taylor, 1992. And bear in mind, obviously, this is like within a few minutes after full time. It says, awful first half. Well, I'm guessing it means awful game. Like we thought 3 points were guaranteed. Slightly better after the break, but too many don't care. Too many on last year of their contracts, just going through the motions. We need fresh blood fast. God, I can't even talk. But yeah, so if that's the sort of mood that we're getting, then you think to yourself, wow, like, it's like if I mean, I don't know from Ant's perspective, did Preston, I'm guessing Preston must have looked like they wanted it a lot more than Leicester did.
Yeah, Preston didn't look particularly great, but they just looked like they were up for a bit of a fight and a battle. And it's like, if you've got one team that's up for a fight and a battle and another one that's not, however much quality difference there is, the team that fights more is going to win. So
here's another one. So it's from Big Lee, which I think is quite a funny name actually, but in a good way. But I like it. Anyway, but a disgraceful performance outran half the team don't want to be here. Vestergaard, Samari, Winks, Thomas, all useless. What does Daka actually do? Never heard Ant say that before. Marty has been handed a total basket case of a club, and Rudkin still sits there and get him and help him out. So yeah, a lot of the theme seems to be that it's obviously embarrassing, and that's a lot of it just seems to be like that the play. And this is the thing I was saying before, that if you feel like because I've seen Sunderland go down back to back, for example, and there were a lot of times during those years where I felt like the players could not give a rat's ass about what's going on. And when you have that feeling, when you're paying the money to go and see it, go and see them play, it's horrible. Carl will have experienced it, Annie will have experienced it. As football fans, if you experience and you feel like your team is not giving 100%, that's the most depressing thing when you're a fan.
Yeah, I think a lot of those comments have nailed it. And you know what summed it up is, the Sheffield Wednesday game.
Yeah,
that some of these relationships, like with players with the fans, is so far gone, and they're so fed up of these players that regardless of what they do, like that relationship's gone. It's like Wout Faes scoring the winner and still getting booed. It's like you don't just turn over a new leaf when you've been shit and arrogant for 3 years because you score one goal. It's like, fuck off, a lot of you. Rant over.
And can I ask you this? With the situation of that result of, yesterday at Deepdale, does it shows you that with, I'm not saying, I know there's been not much investment, in the squad, but are you just concerned about, with the lack of, what's going to happen within the next week or so, nearly next fortnight? So, will it be a bit change? Will the squad be changed a little bit with El Canoes being linked to a move away to Crystal Palace? I know James Justin.
To be honest, if El Canoes goes after the first half he puts in, he can fuck off as well. The way that he walked around the pitch thinking he was too good to be there.
He didn't perform against Huddersfield the other night, and I did watch it. He did look interested enough.
It's like he can be as talented as he wants, and there's a fair few like this. If you don't want to be it, fuck off.
Yeah, it's like if you know you don't want to be at a club, then at least disguise it well enough to the point where at least you're putting a lot of effort into it. Like, as a fan, it's idealistic, I suppose, to think this way, but it shouldn't be. Like, if you want to leave, the best way, obviously, to go and do it is to perform to the best of your ability, and therefore more clubs are going to want you, and it's easier for you to go in that sense.
Yeah, to be honest, like everyone says about players leaving and this, that, and the other, I genuinely hope most of this squad leave because I'm sick to death of most of them and have been for the last 3 years since that Brendan Rodgers season where he got relegated originally. Because a lot of that squad is still the same players who are here now, and it's like you failed time after time after time. I don't actually care what you do anymore. It's like because I don't trust any of them. And the biggest negative of all of this is the fact that James Justin's got injured, so he's still going to be a Leicester player come the end of this.
Is this injury serious? Because the rumours I've been hearing was a dead leg, but no one knows if there's any official confirmation that's come up from the club since yesterday.
Nothing's come out from the club. I hope it's not serious, and I hope he fucks off to Leeds.
I think that just about covers it.
Yeah, that does actually. I'm not going to say much more on that one. So,
sorry, I'm fed up because I feel like it's just exactly the same things as I was saying last year with players that just can't be bothered. And then you've got players coming out after pre-season games where we've looked fantastic, saying this season's going to be fun. We can't wait for this. It's like brilliant. You save us in pre-season, and like these players were working harder in pre-season than they are now. It's like it genuinely. Oh, I don't know. I'm just absolutely fucking done with a lot of them. Start Monga, start Fatawu, start Ben Nelson, like start all the kids. I wouldn't care if I never see Wout Faes, Yannick Vestergaard, James Justin, Bubakari Samari, Harry Winks, Jordan Ayew ever play for the club again. Honestly, fuck a lot of them off.
It's a good way to end it, I reckon.
Yeah, pretty much.
You asked me.
Yeah, well, that is true. That is true.
It's true. We've asked you, and you said what you said. So I'm not gonna. We can't dispute.
Oh,
that.
and also Oliver Skip as well. He can piss off. Bloke is absolutely fucking useless. Like genuinely, he gives me hope, but I could still make it as a footballer. Absolutely.
At the age of what? And at the age of what?
I don't like. I haven't played a competitive
Somehow I don't think Ant
game
cares
in about
about that.
3 years, and I still reckon I could do better than Oliver Skip. 25 fucking million pounds. Are you taking the piss? Oh, and also, like, whilst we're on this sort of metric of like,
Oh, we're
players,
down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
yeah, Patson Daka, Jesus Christ, how that man is a footballer. Like, oh my, like, I've got no words. I've got absolutely no words. He is absolutely awful. Like, genuinely one of the worst footballers I've ever seen play for Leicester. And that takes some doing when you see some of the absolute morons we've had up front down the years. He is by far.
You know the worst thing about all of this? Ant keeps reeling off these names that, like, oh, he can get lost and everything. And I'm like, yep, I'll take him. Yeah, I'll take him. Yeah, he's all right. I'll take him. yeah, all right. Yeah, if he wants to come in, that's good.
You know what Ant would probably say? They'll go to Bristol City and they'll suddenly turn them into the Championship 25-26 winners.
The thing is, I could not care less what these lot do after they piss off out of Leicester. But the fact is, I've seen most of them not give a shit since Brendan Rodgers left, to be honest. And it's like, you can have all the ability in the world. If you don't want to be here, just go.
No, I think that's fair enough.
It's fair. It's fair.
But I do have one silver lining. Danny Ward did cost Wrexham 3 points, so.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I think that says a lot. If that's your silver lining, then I suppose. But I know where what Ant means. Basically, it's like if you're struggling at the bottom, aren't you? If you're like, oh well, at least Conor Cody and Danny Ward lost for Wrexham, so this was all right. So I'm just going to put it out there.
Yeah.
I hope Conor Cody's feeling the same, prick.
I fucking love that.
There you go on. Hopefully that cheers you up slightly for 2 seconds.
But I'm looking forward to Sunday, next Saturday, sorry. New stadium to tick off Charlton. So
Is it at the point where you're just going for the day out rather than the football now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it has been
struggling.
It has been for most of last year as well. And the thing is, I know it's 2 games into the season, and like I said this earlier, but it just feels like you're carrying on from last year, the same issues. It's like I feel so sorry for Cifuentes. The poor bloke paid out of his own pocket the compensation to come here. Is he mad? Is he actually mad?
You remember, like, what was it? Was it Troops or something? Do you remember, like, for AFTV when they used to have the
Troops? Yeah.
When he used to go, what was it? My mother blood. Like, she's still Wenger in. Is she mad?
Yeah, yeah.
It literally sounded like that. It's like, so Martin Cifuentes paid out of his own pocket to come here. Is he mad?
Oh.
If
Yeah,
you're struggling for goals, good luck scoring against Charlton, is all I'm going to say.
oh, mate, we could play against a bunch of under 14s. We ain't scoring anytime soon.
So, Ant, you still looking forward to Leicester Coventry next month?
Oh, fuck's sake.
All right, what's the next game?
Do you know what I think? Do you know what will probably happen? I know this will make him ultra depressed. Sorry to kick you while you're down, Ant, but like, imagine like Jamie Vardy signs for Coventry and he scores the winner of the King Power for Cov against Leicester.
Oh, don't even. I genuinely think that would be enough for me to start drinking bleach.
Now you know how I felt when we had bloody Connor Wickham score twice against us for MK bloody Dons.
He scored against us as well during lockdown. Oh.
I'm pretty sure he scored one of his only goals for Crystal Palace against Leicester.
Yeah, he did actually.
Scored twice against us when he was. See, this is what I mean. Like, it's always a habit when you let all your ex-players score against you. But the problem is, when we were in League One, all of our shit ex-players kept popping up against us. I'm like, this league is really, really affecting my mental health now. Can this stop? This is really annoying.
So have I got all of that to look forward to next year? Brilliant.
Leicester in League One. Oh, just... yeah, I know what would finish Ant off here. Forest get Champions League football or something. Coventry get promoted. Leicester get relegated. It's like, no. It's like, I don't like it. What was it you said? Can I take up knitting or follow cricket now or something? I don't like football anymore.
I think my loan to Sunderland for the season is going to be made from a permanent transfer.
You're more than welcome. Mind you, if you come over and you jinx it, then I'll be like, nope, don't get you here.
Send his ass back to Leicester. Yeah.
If he brings crap luck everywhere he goes, I'll send him to Newcastle United.
Yeah, actually, that'd be more better. Actually.
Now, on a positive though, like joking aside, the one thing that I do like is no one is blaming Marty Cifuentes for any of what's happening at the moment. John Rudkin is getting pelters, and rightly so, but everyone can see the fact it is not Cifuentes' fault.
Yeah, and that's a good thing because it means at least people. It's a bit like similar to like say for example when you had like Danny Rowe. I mean, even when what was his name? Isco Munoz? No, the guy before Danny Rowe.
Cisco Munoz.
Cisco Munoz. That's it. Yeah. Even though people could tell that they didn't think he would be good enough, Sheffield fans could see through that he was not the main problem. It was more like chance series. So I mean, obviously, I know Leicester's not in. Well, hopefully, Leicester are nowhere near as bad a situation as Sheffield Wednesday are in terms of ownership, in terms of stay off the pitch. Although it doesn't feel like it at the moment. But the point I'm making is that if you at least you can see that Cifuentes isn't the issue here. But it's like Ant said, is he mad to he probably thinks he's regretting the decision to come here with all the circus that's going on. But and this is the thing. So yeah, I mean,
my finishing statement, because I've got to go. Ipswich Town, mind the gap.
And it's a pleasure always. I know it's not been the best, but at least you ended on a positive note. So yeah, thank you for joining us as well.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
See you.
That was Ant from our residential Leicester fan. Yeah, you can see the frustration in his voice. You can hear it. It just, and I know he's been saying that for weeks now. Even before the friendly, he was kind of a little bit buzzing a little bit more. But yeah, this result yesterday, man, it's been on a whip, starting a whip anyway.
But that's the thing. If you look at, I mean, I know it's not as easy as just looking at the squad and you think that they should beat anybody, but like again, you look at what Leicester have at their disposal, and it's just compare. And again, with the greatest of respect to Preston, it's night and day. Right? Just listen to some of these players. I tell you what, you got Stolarczyk, obviously in goal. Okay, Vestergaard not highly rated, but you got James Justin there. Luke Thomas? I think
Luke Thomas, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You got Okoli at centre back. Listen to this midfield and front four. Harry Winks. So you got Winks, Samari, Fatawu, El Kanous, Mavadidi, Ayew. That should be a dream team. That should be a dream championship team. That when you really look at it, stop and think about it. but again, like we said, there is two sides to every story, of course. But the fact for all of Leicester's troubles, and and it says a lot when obviously I think it was Faze ended up scoring the winner against Sheffield Wednesday, and he still got booed. Then that says a lot
Up in
about
his ears as well. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That says a lot how fractured the relationship is between Leicester players and Leicester fans. But for two sides to every story, though. Fair play to Preston for beating what was in front of them, because that's still a really good Leicester team on paper that they've beaten, and it's really good for them and it's good for them to build confidence, even if Leicester aren't in great shape at the moment. That's still great for Preston. We've got to give them their credit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We give him credit as well. As it's come to nearly to the hour mark around 9 o'clock here, listen, let's get into some more messages. Dan, good to see you, mate. Leicester need a point. If they do get points deduction, have them on board straight away. Yeah, absolutely. William Mercer coming. The only thing you need to know is Preston new team took Leicester apart. Leicestershire's overpaid prima donnas turned up expected to turn Preston over. They got outplayed and was made to look poor, and the best team won. It's paper wise, you've got a good squad doesn't mean you will win the game, and somehow Leicester just with the situation going, it's untenable, especially that relation between the fans and players needs to be resolved sooner or better, because if it doesn't, it's going to get sink to a really, really new low indeed.
Well, at the end of the day, like the good thing, like Dan said, the good thing is that at least Cifuentes is not being attributed much of any blame, and I think that's where. And again, it's and something that does annoy me in football quite a lot is when it's easy to hide behind the head coach or the manager. It's about time the players front up and start taking the brunt for it, because
They need to.
Like it's like when they went down last year. It's like if they went down. I mean, Ant will know better than me again, but if, for example, there were times where Leicester players were just strolling around and literally couldn't have cared less, then that is unforgivable. If you lose and give everything, that's one thing. You can't ask much more than that. But
no, you can't.
If you're going through the motions, it'll never go down well. And
but the thing is, the situation happened when Ranieri got the sack. It's gone back from least after when they won the Premier League.
Well, this is 8-9 years ago we're talking here.
Yeah, and when Ranieri got the sack, and then Craig Shakespeare was probably was a snake in all day. In the Craig Shakespeare was a snake with all this with some of the players. Then became the players throw him on the bus. Same with Claude Puel, and then Brendan. This is a cycle that has not been resolved. That needs to be resolved properly, because now the fans are seeing for so much frustration popping out the players properly.
It's all boiling to a head, isn't it? Basically, there does come a point where everything just explodes over. So, yeah, it's just not an ideal sort of situation for any of that. And again, remember, this is on the back of a cycle of the last few years. Obviously, the season before last, obviously Leicester would have.
Oh, sorry, and Craig was a snake. Apologies, mate. Everyone thought he was. You more know, so I apologize for that. So.
No, that's fine. You try to listen to me get stuff wrong. I get it all the time. But yeah, exactly. So I think season before last, obviously, of course, Leicester winning the league and everything else. But it sounds like these frustrations have been built up over the last few seasons with the Brendan Rodgers relegation. Or well, he wasn't there when they went down, but it was effectively Brendan Rodgers relegation. Everything else, obviously, last season the shambles with the head coach recruitment in particular, and obviously, as Anne said himself, that they didn't spend very well by the sounds of it. And then we're spilling over into this season. And the worst part of it is when you go past the stage of anger and it's apathy. And you just go, well, you're struggling to care anymore. And that's when it's horrendous, especially.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's move on to the other results in the next 40 minutes or so. Going to Hillsborough, Stoke winning 3-0 against Sheffield Wednesday. Michael, like I said, the club had a protest. The fans had a protest again this weekend, and yes, the North Stand pretty much was back open after it was suspended due to the safety reasons, but it opened back up. But I have to say, you can see how it's sorting out about at the moment. What's going on at Sheffield Wednesday, and Stoke just capitalised on it from the first minute.
So we're going from one depressing club at the minute to another one. That's a joyful one, isn't it? Like I've said it countless times that we know the problems of Sheffield Wednesday are Chansiri. We know that the state of the club is dying on its knees at the minute. The fact that we had to wait for Barry Bannon to be effectively registered in time to play Leicester is ridiculous in itself. That shows how bad it is. So either way, but yeah, you're right. Stoke capitalised on it. Must have been nice for Stoke fans to get out of Stoke. Unfortunately, then they have to go back home. Well, let's put it this way. We'll mention this when we talk about Millwall Middlesbrough later, but someone said to you after 2 games, the top 2 will be Stoke City and Middlesbrough. I think people would think you're on crack. So,
Yeah.
But by the way, so from Stoke's point of view, very good win. Very good away win. Obviously, and to be fair, they came from behind to beat Derby, as obviously me and Carl discussed last week. They've scored 6 goals in their first 2 games, and part of the problem with Stoke was that they weren't. That you questioned. Tom Cannon was obviously scoring quite regularly for them when he was there on loan last season. That are the goals going to come more frequently for Stoke? But they've scored 6 goals in their first 2 games. Now, obviously, here it's probably one of the. I don't want to say easier, but it's one of the kindest away days given Sheffield Wednesday's current state. It shouldn't be a kind fixture, but in Sheffield's current state, it probably is. So, obviously, Divin Mubama, 2nd goal in 2 games. That's really good for him. That's really good for him to get his confidence up and to get him more settled in. You got Million Manhoffs. I'm not going to butcher that name.
Manhoff.
Okay, yeah. Obviously scored a brace. And to be fair, from the bits I did see, Stoke actually played decently well. I mean, obviously, a part of it would have been down to Sheffield Wednesday in the state they're in at the minute. But you have to credit Stoke. You can only beat what is put in front of you. And so obviously, and fair play for Mark Robbins, because obviously we know about how Mark Robbins' teams has started slowly. So maybe it's just a Mark Robbins and Coventry thing. Who knows if this is anything to go by. Mark Robbins will be thinking this is the best start he's had for probably about 4 or 5 seasons now. Even after 2, but obviously the caveat is it's 2 games. So, but yeah, the more Stoke win now, the more confidence that they start to build. And as we know with Stoke, they've stagnated heavily in just being mid-table or bottom half championship. So huge for them and for Sheff Wed. I mean, I feel like I'm kicking a dead horse saying these things at this point, but yeah, obviously but the best thing for the fans to do is just keep on protesting, keep it in the limelight, keep everything going, because eventually you would like to think that it should turn at some point, even though it might feel like it's a light at the end of an extremely long marathon-length tunnel, but it will come eventually. You'd like to hope it will. Very quickly, just remember before I forget, and I'll show you both back on my sentiments, apparently Morecambe have been saved. Apparently,
yes, that's the big news.
National League have approved a takeover, so I just want to quickly mention that while I was on my mind. So yeah, well done, great for Morecambe. We don't want to see anybody go out of business like what Bury fans had to put up with. So, yeah, obviously I know that Bury have kind of reformed a bit, but they should never have had to go through that to begin with. So, good for Morecambe, by the way, and hopefully Sheffield Wednesday get a happier resolution soon, like Morecambe have just done.
We hope so as well too. Anything else to add? What Michael said.
Can we finally get excited about Stoke?
Let's come back to another 8 games.
Are they going to be in the top half at the very least? Oh yeah, good start, great start.
By the way, I love this from. Sorry, Annie, I love this from man. Even in his depressed day about Leicester, he finds a way to have a dig at Cov. It's quite funny.
Yeah, I mean, caveat for the first game, and I don't want to rain on their parade here or anything. They're playing a Derby side who have got a mountain of injuries. I mean, that starting 11 in about 10 games time will look completely different. For Derby, that is. And they were playing Sheffield Wednesday, which is, is it a soft fixture? I don't know. So, yeah, it's obviously a good start. It's a great start, and it gives them a lot of confidence. And you look at the starting 11, it's got quality. It's really got quality. Mbamba, it's got Soba Thomas, who started brilliantly. You've got Million Manhoff, you've got Lewis Baker. Yeah. You've got really sort of a nice mix of options in there. And you've got some good players, good star players at Stoke who can win you a game, and have got some attacking quality in there.
And Victor Johansson's one of the best keepers in the league as well.
Yeah, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. So, yeah, Mark Robbins will set them up to be sort of defensively solid, and then they'll build. And if you've got the attacking quality, like Soba Thomas, well, Stoke are going to be good if that all clicks. Fingers crossed for them. That actually does this time around.
Yeah, another 3 points for Stoke and Mark Robbins. Right, going into look at one of the other games we want to choose. Actually, good win for West Brom, winning 3-2 at Wrexham, and Isaac Price. I think he's going to be one of their
good
player,
player.
good players are the players for them, good key player for them this season. And he, listen, it was a good win from Ryan Mason, to start getting to continue their winning start to the season. Is he good? Are they good enough to get into the playoffs this season?
Yeah, they are 100%. I mean, my only concern with West Brom, slight sort of drawback with Albion, was Ryan Mason, because we had no idea what he was going to be like. That was no slight on him, and that's the only reason I had West Brom slightly down. If Ryan Mason's going to be good, West Brom are going to be right in a top 6 battle and have a very good chance of getting in there because they've got a good squad. They've recruited well. As you mentioned, Isaac Price is a very, very good player. And there was frustrations to remember the game at Ashton Gate, which was a massive game last season. So had done a lot of reading on West Brom. Isaac Price played as the central striker in that game. So if you play him off the striker, which in this case is Hegbo, I think, for West Brom.
Yeah.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't actually watch the game yesterday. But if you can get him working, if you can get him playing loads and loads of games, then I think he had injury problems last season as well at points. So if you can get him playing, if you can get him sort of fit and firing, you're going to have a hell of a player there and you're going to have a hell of an asset. And as I said again, they've got a good squad. Like Tom Fellows is still there. As I mentioned, Hegbo, the striker, Daryl DK, Carlon Grant. You've got some good options in there. And West Brom, I think, have a very strong squad. If Ryan Mason can unlock it better than what Tony Mowbray did last season, well, yeah, there's no reason why they can't be in the top 6. Carlos Corbrand had them in the top 6, like pretty consistently, or just short. So you've got a really good team there, and I think that can really compete and really at the top of the division.
And by the way, just add to that, like as well, you got to remember that's a hard game for them to have won. I know, obviously, I've said before that I think Wrexham are probably due a bit of a reality check on how. And to be fair to Wrexham, actually, they've faced 2 of the teams that are expected to be in the top 7 or 8 at the bare minimum. Obviously, Southampton much more so, but West Brom's not easy. But to be fair, Wrexham away, first home game. Remember, they've just got promotion, back to back to back. Racecourse it's not that's going to be a difficult place for teams to go. They're not going to. A lot of teams aren't going to have it their own way. Wrexham have been riding on that wave of a momentum at the minute. So for West Brom to go there and to get a win, I think they deserve a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, they certainly do. They certainly do deserve a lot of credit for that as well. Let's go into.
But nothing says welcome to the Championship for Wrexham, by the way.
No, of course not. Of course not. Let's go to Fratton Park, actually. A good win for Norwich City to win 2-1 against Portsmouth. Harry Darwin scored in the 6th minute, and Josh Sargent, after after he's still there, after his move to Wolfsburg was stalled, and then luckily they're getting to start slowly now, Michael, just to get themselves on the board a lot more the last 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, after losing in the last 5 minutes to Millwall last weekend, I think it was important for Norwich to not bounce back to a degree, because again, it is still early doors. But it's big for Liam Manning as well, because obviously, although I think there's a lot of excitement, or at the very least intrigue by this appointment for Norwich. You don't want to go on too long without your first win on the board. You want to go and actually. No, I'm not even going to mention Ant's comments. I've just seen Carl's face, and I kind of gave it away.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
but yeah, look, for Norwich, I mean, obviously they scored twice within the first 15 minutes, which I was actually quite surprised by, because Fratton Park, I expect to be, and I still expect Fratton Park will be a difficult place for teams to go to. But you've got to credit, but for Norwich's point of view, I mean, obviously, look, we know the big player at the minute is Josh Sargent, and obviously there's still a huge question mark on whether he will still be there. But I've said before that I wouldn't be shocked if, especially given that they've already sold Borja Sainz as well. That money's probably already been reinvested when you look at some of the other players that Norwich have brought into the club this summer. But with Sargent, I wouldn't be surprised if his injury keeps him there. His injury record, I mean. But the caveat of that is that Josh Sargent wants to be in the World Cup next year. World Cup squad for USA. How likely is it that he's going to get that while playing in the Championship? I don't think he should be dismissed because he's playing in the Championship. I think the Championship's a really competitive division. But obviously, if he's going to get a chance to move to a bigger league, then that dictates it for me.
Can I also add, the last time, I think what some clubs are sort of being put off by is the last time he was in the Premier League. He didn't do very well,
No,
but that was sort of settling in
That was his
period
first
for him.
season in
That
English
was
football, wasn't it?
yeah. And it's the Premier League. Like if you're playing for Norwich in the Premier League, that's going to be 10 times harder than it is playing for, I don't know, Crystal Palace or West Ham. Wolves, someone in the middle of the
Yeah.
Premier League, Brentford, for example. So
yeah,
you can't judge, especially strikers. Like I get the conversation about strikers playing for teams that have just come up or being relegated. So frustrating because sometimes strikers will have scored 10 goals in the Premier League, but it's a massive difference if they've played for a team who've finished in the bottom 3 or finished in the top 10. It's like there's such a world of like both have scored 10 goals, but this guy has definitely done significantly better than the guy who's played consistently for that team.
yeah.
So hence the conversation around certain strikers who play for elite clubs like Liverpool, Arsenal, Man United, Man City, Chelsea. Even if they've put up really good numbers, people are often critical. But if they put up the same numbers for a team, you see what I mean. But
Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
Yeah,
Like say, for
because
example,
on the face of
yeah, no, I get it. It's like if someone scored 10 goals for 10 goals for Norwich in the Premier League, as opposed to
Michael, you won't like this, but Alexander Mitrovic was the absolute classic because he scored 10 goals for Fulham or Newcastle, whatever it was when they got promoted.
Oh yeah,
And then everyone was like, "Oh, he can't replicate the numbers he did in the Championship." Well, I wouldn't expect him to unless he's
no, I think it's
Alan
a fair
Shearer
argument.
or Thierry
Fair
Henry.
argument.
Can I just point out, to be fair, on Alexander Mitrovic, he actually was pretty good for Newcastle in the first year he signed for them in the Premier League.
Yeah, he was.
In his first year in English football as well, by the way. So just to put that out there as a caveat of that. But no, the point is to get back to Norwich. Like the big talking point will be, of course, Josh Sargent and whether he stays or not. And obviously, I've said for me, it's always a risk reward thing with Sargent because we know how good this guy is when he's fit. We know how good he is when he's fit. He's at least one of the best strikers in the league, arguably the best. In numbers he produces when he has been fit. I think last season he got something like, what was it, 15, 20 goals?
15 goals last season.
15 goals in 30 appearances or something, I think it was.
32, yeah.
32. So that's roughly 1 in 2. You can't. Everyone's going to want a striker that scores you 1 in 2 games, providing they're playing regularly enough. So the big thing for me will be whether Norwich keep Sargent or not. But even then, Harry Darling scoring after 6 minutes. I'm a fan of Harry Darling as a signing for Norwich. Obviously, working with Liam Manning at MK Dons.
Should have been us.
I'll not comment on that.
No,
let's not beat any down. But yeah, so it's good for Liam Manning to get his first win, obviously on the board very quickly. A ground that will be quite difficult, and obviously that will be tougher. I would not be surprised, I think, if Norwich improve steadily as the season goes on under Liam Manning, because obviously, yeah, there's nothing I can say that's not going to make any rule.
No, it's not. It's not helping.
Power said, yeah, big win for Norwich. Portsmouth bounce back next week. They've all 3 points after 2 games. I don't think they would complain too much.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, true as well. And looking at Josh Sargent's stats, he didn't score a lot of goals in Germany because I think across the 4 seasons at Bremen, he only scored like 13 goals in the league at that time. And I think Norwich, when he came to Norwich, he scored 2. Then the last 3 seasons, he scored more than 50, more than 45 at least the last few seasons. Yeah.
So what's that, 45 in just over 3 seasons?
Yeah.
And bearing in mind, how many of those games has he been out injured as well? So the numbers are kind of skewed to a degree, obviously, because obviously the appearances are less than what.
Yeah, he's not had a full season with his appearances. I think 40 in his first season in the Championship, 26 in his second season, and appearances, and 32 last season.
Yeah, so that's obviously going to be, and bear in mind, we don't know how many of them work off the bench either. That's another thing. So obviously appearances
probably not many.
No, probably not. But appearances often don't include the fact that some of them are from the bench. It doesn't say how many are starts and some appearances. But you are right. A lot of them will have been starts. Absolutely.
Is he the best striker in the division then? I think so.
At this moment,
I think there's a strong argument for him to being so.
You can't argue with the numbers. I don't think.
No, I think
it's the best striker.
It depends, because if you're talking, it depends on what you define as best striker. If you're talking just on goal scoring numbers, yes,
you would. Well, the whole round package. Well, Sargent's got it all. Really, he's a powerful striker. He can do pretty well at holding the ball up. From what I've seen of him, he's a willing runner. He's a goal scorer, and he's just a really good footballer.
To
So
be fair, he's also constantly a nuisance, isn't he? When he's always in the right positions for defenders. So, yeah, I think you could probably say he is. If he's not the best, then it's going to take someone really, really good to beat him. Put it that way.
Who comes close? Parachute teams? Anyone?
I'm trying to think.
Adam Armstrong.
Patson Daka, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. To be fair, Adam Armstrong is a good shout.
I would say that. I think,
but he did struggle at West Brom last season, though, didn't he? But he was playing on the wing, so
just
to
point out. I think. Go on, Andy. Go on.
I'd say Sargent is probably most people's first choice.
I think I can't say he's better than him at the minute, but I think the one for Southampton who I think has got potential to be better than him is Cameron Archer.
I think so. Yeah.
But I can't say that he's definitely better because he's not proved it for a couple of years. You know what I mean? But the caveat of that is it's in the Premier League, so Sorry, Annie?
And Ross Stewart. They've got a few good strikers, don't they? So,
Ross Stewart's another one. You know what it is, right? Though, that's another thing. Ross Stewart, but obviously, again, similar problem to Sargent, but probably a much bigger extent. Ross Stewart's barely fit, and I still stand by to this day that the year we went up from League One, it staggers me now looking back at it how he did not get injured that season, and thankfully he didn't because we wouldn't have gone up. But still,
well, what about Haji Wright or Haji Shite?
If Haji Wright was on it consistently, yes, but we know that he's hot and cold.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Moving on to one of the other games today at the MK Stadium, Hull getting a win late on Burnley scoring the winner after beating Oxford United 3-2. I didn't watch this game because I didn't realize that. I thought it was on yesterday, but I realized. But Hull probably need that win, especially they've had a bit of a slow start.
They've had a good start, haven't they? They've drawn 0-0 at Coventry and they've beaten Oxford at home. If Hull are going to be,
but they should have lost to Coventry because Coventry had a little bit more chances.
Hey, listen, 0-0 is a 0-0. It's a point. And they defended.
I'll point out to play devil's advocate. I thought Hull were worthy of a point personally.
And I actually thought they were defensively quite solid at Coventry.
They had some decent chances as well, by the way. It wasn't like they just went there purely for a point.
They went there to frustrate, and they did they did what they needed to. What a crazy start to this game. I didn't watch it, but a crazy start, and it was 1-0. It was 1-0 Hull, first minute, wasn't it?
Gelhardt scored,
or second minute or something, and then 1-1. Will Lancashire scored. Yep, and then 2-1 Matt Crooks, and then 2-2 Cameron Brannigan, and then 3-2 in the last minute.
It was 2-2 after 27 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely crazy, topsy-turvy stuff. Good for Jurkovic to get off to a winning start. Hull struggled at home last year. I think they were the worst home team in the division. So it is important for him to get, because I think a lot of Hull fans got pretty frustrated pretty quickly with their home form. So it'll be good for him to get them on side. And look, even though Hull have had a difficult summer, you look at the team, look at the starting 11. It's not bad at all, is it? It's not. I wouldn't say it's bottom three. I've got them in the bottom three, but I wouldn't say it's bottom three worthy sort of squad or starting 11 quality. You've got McBurney, you've got Lundstrom, you've got Ndala, who looks very promising. You've got Ryan Giles, a very good player. Gelhardt. You've got Ryan Giles, got Abu Kamara, who might be sold, but if he's there, you've got a pretty good winger in him. But even if he is sold, you get quite a sizable money for him. So they've got decent team, Hull, and they've got sort of players coming back. Mohamed Baloumi, who is going to be a really good player for Hull. He's going to come back next week, apparently. You've still got Liam Miller to come back. You've still got Elliot Matazau to come back. You've got really good players at Hull. So I don't know. I think I might have been slightly too hasty to put them in the bottom three. Just after 2 games, it's probably a ridiculous comment to make. But
I made that comment. So listen.
Yeah, so I think if Jurkovic can keep that solidness that was shown away from home and build on it and give those attacking players a bit of freedom, like it was shown today, well, yeah, I'd say that they'll be fine, and they've got quality to hurt teams. Oxford, I am. This look, I don't want to sound like some sort of classist. They're not one of the biggest teams in this division. That's a first. They've not really recruited well enough, and that's Gary Rowett has said that as well. Like, he openly said before the first game, we need bodies in, loans, permanence, everything. I'm not convinced by their forward. I know they scored 2 today, but I'm not convinced by their forward line. If Will Lancashire and Luke Harris click, well, then that's sorted. That's fine. But Mark Harris starting in the 10 position, no, not buying it. I do like Brodie Spencer. I think him and Stanley Mills down the right hand side is a good combination. But I'm just looking at that squad, and I'm just like, give me something to get excited about. You know what I mean? Yeah. Give me something tangible to hold on to. And Gary Rowett is a good manager, and that is probably their best thing. That's probably their best, the thing that's going for them. But if they're not going to be solid and defensively away from home, they're going to struggle. Because they're probably going to have to.
Well, they've lost 2 games that before the start of the season, they would have said we need to probably get points in these games, like Portsmouth at home.
Yeah.
Look who they lost to.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that's what I mean. I mean, if you're looking at this again, if you're looking at the stats from today, like again, I know I'm going to mention expected goals quite a lot, but listen, like Hull's was 1.98, Oxford's 0.78. So it just goes to show that. Look, I think again, it just goes to prove that how good a job Gary Rowett did to keep Oxford in the Championship last season, and that was the biggest reason that they ended up staying up. I think for Hull it's a weird one because I put them in my bottom 3 as well. I still have massive concerns over the decision makers at the club. I'm not entirely convinced that I trust them. But Hull can beat what's in front of them, you know. And I think, to be fair, when we talk about, obviously, Oxford's got their own problems, so you could say Hull maybe do need to be beating them. But at the same time, considering Hull had probably the worst home record in the season, I don't think their fans are going to care too much about that right now, and nor should they.
And McBurney, that could be
your assist in the match winner, by the way. So
that could be your someone if you're in a relegation fight, and Hull might well not be, but if you're going to be in a relegation fight, that might be your guy. Like, if you have a striker who can produce moments out of nothing, and Ollie McBurney's done this in the Premier League, for God's sake. Like, if you've got a striker who can do that and score goals and regularly be a bagsman, that gives you a significant advantage because Oxford, for example, don't really have that at the moment. So. I'm feeling more positive about Hull than I probably am. Well, I'm definitely feeling more positive about Hull than I was a few weeks ago because of the signings they've made. So, yeah, and they've got players coming back, as I mentioned. So, weirdly feeling a little bit optimistic.
You know what? Exactly, and you're right. You may be right with that one. Like what Ant said, you know, McBurney will fight for every ball, and you're right. And I think I was surprised because he went for Spain to Las Palmas last season, then let him go in July. And surprisingly, none of the other teams in the Championship looked at him other than Hull actually getting him on a free, which is a steal, actually.
Hull's game.
Well, loads of teams looked at him, apparently, and that's why it took absolutely ages for McBurney to be actually properly announced, because apparently Sheffield United were in for him, Swansea were in for him.
Yeah.
There were teams there, and I'm sure there would have been more. But, yeah, Hull have done really well to pull him because he's a really good player.
Yeah, he is as well. Going and move on to Vicarage Road, Luca Kerr-Magard scored his first 2 goals in English football after Watford beat QPR to give Paolo Perez his first win after they beat QPR 2-1. Michael, finally, Paolo Perez finally getting the monkey off his back to get his first win after 2 games.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's probably saved his job until October now instead of September. So it's very hard to not mention how often head coaches get sacked at Watford. But in fairness, I believe Watford's 2 goals were long range distances.
Yeah.
So absolutely. So I'm just going to call him Luca because I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that.
Kerr-Magard.
Right, there you go. If it's wrong, I'll blame Carl. That's why I didn't say it. Kerr-Magard.
I got it.
Luca Kerr-Magard. Yeah, okay. To be fair, no, 2 really well taken goals. And again, from Watford's point of view, QPR at home, it's a game that you want to be trying to win, of course. Obviously, you want to try and win every game, but it's one that you would more realistically target 3 points. So it's obviously good to get off the mark, especially for Watford, where you don't tend to get a lot of patience and a lot of time. The sooner you get your first win, the better. Obviously for QPR, obviously, but we mentioned Watford went down to 10 men, but it was effectively at the end of the game, so it didn't impact things too much. Obviously for QPR, obviously was it a draw at home to Preston, lose away Watford? It isn't the best of starts, but again, it is very early days. So yeah, we'll see how it pans out for both of them. But for Kumengard, it'll do him the world of confidence to get two really good goals, and obviously to get Paulo Pezzolano, good to get a win that saves his job for another 2 weeks probably.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Not got loads. We've got a few games more left to go. Let's go to the result at the Den. Millwall losing 3-0 to Middlesbrough. Annie, as I said, it's what a good second half for Middlesbrough to give Rob Edwards back-to-back wins to the new season.
Yeah, this is really eye-catching, isn't it? And I've kind of said Middlesbrough have been a little bit chaotic. They've been a little bit. Can you sort of? I don't know. I want to see a little bit more from them, right? And the transfer market in particular. But look, Hayden Hackney's playing. Hayden Hackney's scoring, and again, it's a squad that on paper is okay, but underperformed last season. I'll still wait. I'll still wait a little bit on Middlesbrough to see fully sort of where they're at. But yeah, going away to Millwall, winning 3-0 is not easy. Winning at Millwall's not easy, and yeah, they've done it, and a very good Millwall side, might add as well. So yeah, I'd say panic stations at Millwall, absolutely not. I'd say they're still going to be competitive and they're going to be hopefully for them sort of in the playoff race again, and if they can get in there, that'll be fantastic. But yeah, Middlesbrough. Look, who would you be surprised if Middlesbrough fifth? Absolutely not. I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the top six or something like that, or comfortably in there, because that's what Middlesbrough could do. They've got the ability to do that. They've still got some new players to bed in completely, and they're probably still going to sign some more players. But yeah, very fantastic win, and against the side, as I said, who are going to be competitive, really competitive near the top of the division as well.
But again, if you look at some of the squad, some of the players in the Borough squad, they seem to have started yesterday. Like Dale Fry, Callum Britton from Blackburn, who I think is a very good signing.
Yeah.
Morgan. I mean, even just players like this. Finn. I know he didn't play yesterday. Was he on the bench? Finn Azaz? Oh, okay. He was on the bench. Obviously, I think he came on with 20 minutes. Yeah, but Finn Azaz, Morgan Whittaker, Hayden Hackney, if he's still there, Tommy Conway. The big thing is they need someone else up front to complement Conway, because obviously there was talks of them trying to hijack the move for Chuba Akpom, he's since gone to Ipswich. But I think, to be fair, and actually there was a point that Annie made, and it was about Middlesbrough at the end of last season. I think it's bang on and stuck with me ever since he said it, which was under Michael Carrick. Put it this way, under Michael Carrick, Borough don't win this game, I don't think. Now, I'm not saying that means Rob Edwards is a miles better head coach or anything like that, but what I mean is Middlesbrough didn't have the capacity last season to win ugly away from home when they're up against it, because Millwall had chances in the first half in this game. So it's important, and so to go away to Millwall, who are going to be very, very hard, and have been a lot of people's dark horses for the playoffs. You're winning 3-0. Yeah, okay, you could say 2 goals came in at the end when Millwall might have been pushing for it, whatever. But either way, it's still a significant win. And two games, 2 wins, 2 clean sheets, 6 points, So, yeah, I think there's plenty of reason to be optimistic for Rob Edwards, but at the same time, as Annie says, obviously, there's still more to do in the window, but they still need a bit more depth for me.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to complain at them beating Alex Neil 3-0, so that I'll tip them my hat off to that. But yeah, really, again, it's a result that should give them a lot of confidence.
Yep, yeah, very good confidence, especially how they lost to Doncaster in the League Cup this week. So they
got battered.
They got battered. So they had a lot to prove on that one to try to get 2 wins and 2 in the Championship. Indeed, right. We'll come to our penultimate game before we get into Annie's team shortly. Swansea beating Sheffield United 1-0. Goal from
Ronaldo.
Yeah, Ronaldo. Yeah, it is 6 goal in 66 Championship appearances. I'll ask you both this a question. Do you think the Sheffield United ownership have made a mistake of sacking Chris Wilder.
I'm saying no because how the hell is Ruben Sellers meant to work with this?
He's not signed any he's not signed any permanent signings. It's only been like 3 for what I said to Michael.
He won't be the one making the signings. It'll be the director of football, won't it?
With their AI stuff, yeah.
Like Sellers said in midweek, didn't he? Between the games, between the 2 league games, he said, "Oh yeah, the recruitment process hasn't been good enough," and that's a new manager coming in saying that. Yeah, not a good sign. Straight away. Okay, look, the squad, the team, the starting 11 that Sheffield United put out is quite good. Like, it's really good, right? Cooper, Sariki, Burrows, Callum O'Hare, Gus Harmer, Louis Barry, Tyrese Campbell, Sidney Peck. There's some good players in there.
Yeah.
But they've lost Amadodzic, they've lost Sousa. I'm going to keep banging on that. You know, they've lost 2 key players and they've lost a hell of a lot of loanees as well. And they've not done their business. They've not completed their business yet. So, look, I think it's way too early to judge Ruben Sellers. I think Ruben Sellers is a fantastic manager. And the teams, the 2 games, apparently they've been really open and they've conceded loads of chances and stuff like that. That's not what Ruben Sellers' team looks like. That's not what Ruben Sellers' team does at all. It's defensively solid. It's working from a good base and sort of adding on to it gradually. That's what we saw at Reading, and over time it got better and better and better, and Reading were really good at the top of the division. And Hull, okay, he has 6 months there, but they instantly sort of became more defensively solid. At Sheffield United, the expectation is different. That he's playing slightly different. He's playing a very different brand of football. Yeah, but I think with time, I think Ruben Sellers is going to prove that he's a good manager. But Sheffield United have not helped him in the slightest at all.
No.
Again, I think the comparisons between Sellers and Wilder is obviously it's going to be made because that's Sellers has replaced Wilder, but you've got to bear in mind the context of all. So Ruben Sellers has a miles weaker squad at his disposal right now. We're 2 games into a season, for crying out loud. Like, how? And I understand Sheffield United have ambitions to be right near the top of the division, and they're losing they're losing ground on the top divisions, or the top teams in this division, right? Understandable, absolutely. That's not Ruben Sellers' fault because Sheffield United can't get their business in order or do it quickly.
Yeah.
That's also kind of not Sheffield United's fault because they've had to wait to sell 2 of their best players, really. So it was a bit of a cat and mouse game. Now it's time for Sheffield United to really sort of go for it and be aggressive in the transfer market. Because what I saw from the last weekend, oh my God, as much as I enjoyed it from a Bristol City perspective, oh my God, they were horrendous defensively. Like, every time we got the ball past their halfway line, it was like, there's only 1 defender. Like, what is going on? So, yeah, I mean, I was seriously surprised. And apparently it was sort of more of the same. But panic stations now is just a bit... Look,
it's mental, isn't it, really?
Yeah, if they've done little to no more business from now to the end of the window, yeah, okay, panic. Yeah, fine. Yeah, okay, understandable. But we've got to give it a little bit of time. And I understand Chris Wilder, sort of a Sheffield-born Sheffield United fan. He's been a Sheffield United fan. He's been a Sheffield United player. He's been a Sheffield United manager, right? And that is quite a story, and that's quite hard to... Anyone coming in would have been incredibly hard to replace him. But still, you've got to give Sellers time. You've got to give this relatively weak-looking squad a little bit of help. Otherwise, Sheffield United are going to be nowhere near the top of the division if they don't pep the squad up a little bit more.
I think to add to that as well, because you obviously asked both of us the question, I still stand by that. I don't think that... I think it's very harsh to... Obviously, I mean, Annie is right. The comparisons to Wilder and Sellers aren't going to be made. Obviously, everyone knows my thoughts. I still stand by quite strongly that I think Sheffield United's final points tally skews things massively because I was not convinced by many of their performances last season. I think they often got on the fortunate side of scorelines. Like, I'll give you a good example here, right? As I said before, look at when they went to Bristol City last season. I know Annie won't want me saying this, but when they went to Bristol City last season in the league, Bristol City battered them, or they were easily the better side for 87 minutes. You can't keep on fluking your way to do games like that. I'm not convinced with Wilder even that, because I think Wilder's a very limited manager. He obviously is very good for Sheffield United and he's got them results. Obviously, he was effectively 20 minutes away from the Premier League in the playoff final. Now, obviously, of course, as a Sunderland fan, of course, I'm delighted that he didn't get there. But at the same time, to be fair, Ahmed Hodzic going, Vinny Souza going, that's despite a part of the spine of your team gone. And that's, so I'm not convinced Wilder would have done that much better, if I'm totally honest.
Mm.
And to be fair, obviously the thing for the Sellers has to find is a balance between attack and defence. Because, and he would probably agree with this, as bad as they were defensively, in the first half against Bristol City, I thought Sheffield United actually played really well. The problem was when, well, for Andy it wasn't a problem, but the problem as a neutral was when Bristol City got the third one, heads dropped completely. And that was what...
Hey, I loved it.
Yeah, and of course you would have done it, so you should have done. But the point is, as a neutral, yeah, they completely lost it, and they lost their heads. Now, I mean, they need to say... This is not just on Sellers. This has got to be on the AI, or whoever decides it's the AI, or the ownership, or the recruitment team. I've got question marks about them defensively, of course, not just for the fact they've let in 5 goals in the first 2. Jack Robinson is someone I'm not a fan of, I'm honest.
No.
I think if you just look at it on one game, when Sheffield United went to Sunderland, for example, at the Stadium of Light on New Year's Day, Mayendo and Isidore tore them a new one, particularly with Jack Robinson making the mistake for Mayendo to run through. Yes, that's obviously one game, but I've said along, I think if you sell Ahmed Hodzic, you need at least one good centre-back now, if not 2. That doesn't seem to have been addressed, from what I can see. Vinny Souza is a massive miss, and you don't even need to have someone like Vinny Souza, but have someone that is Vinny Souza, but someone who's close to him, because the role that he plays is so undervalued, I think, in football, and how important that role is in the centre of the midfield. So while these issues remain unresolved, I think it's above Sellers. This obviously doesn't mean Sellers can be above criticism, of course not. But I'm looking at it, and you think, well, the hierarchy have got to take a massive amount of stick for it, because I mean, and the next 2 games don't scream like, oh, they'll definitely win these. Like Millwall, for example, next week. I know Millwall lost 3-0 yesterday, but you bet your bottom dollar that is going to suit Alex Neil down to a T. Away from home, tactically sound in the Championship, pressure on Sheffield United, everything else. Middlesbrough away, then Ipswich away, and then obviously after that you've got like Charlton and Oxford and stuff, but then Southampton after that even. So Sheffield United for me, and I think Andy's right, I think the squad there's elements of the squad they've got that I really like. City Peck, Gustavo Hamer, Louis Barry, Tyrese Campbell. I even still think there's a player in Tom Cannon at Championship level. I think Harrison Burrows, Michael Cooper. Sorry?
Callum O'Hare.
Yeah, Callum O'Hare, exactly. There's another one, yeah.
Yep.
There is enough there. They're just missing. For me, they're missing someone at the base of the midfield in a pivot role and a couple of central defenders. If they can get them to a decent standard, they should be finishing top 4, really, in my opinion. Or at the very least in the top 6. And I think it's very unfair to give Sellers too much stick at the minute. But while he isn't above criticism, he needs help. Like, you need to give him the tools to properly work with.
Certainly do. They certainly do it, especially, yeah.
I don't feel this video's been very down tonight.
Listen, I don't know.
It is very, very, very depressing for some reason.
Listen, we had excitement of the last weekend, so sometimes it goes on this squim. So,
well, I might get the feeling when we're going to talk about our last game that the mood's not going to uplift significantly.
Yeah, well, pretty much. Well,
no pressure, Annie.
No pressure at all. Well, the thing is, you guys, Bristol City drew 0-0 against Charlton yesterday. Tell us from your review from yesterday's game.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to sort of go all in on the Struber or the players or anything, because I think it was just one of those games where our style of play sort of backfired a little bit, and it was Charlton did very well to frustrate. They didn't defend deep for 90 minutes. They were aggressive. They were sort of up the pitch. They were pressing really well, and we just didn't find a way to unlock it, unfortunately, and didn't have sort of the answers to their very good back line. And look, Charlton have a fantastic defence. Like, not being funny, I'll be very surprised if they concede, tons and tons of goals this season. They will be brilliant defensively, and they've shown that first 2 games 2 clean sheets. So, yeah, I was really impressed by them. I'm not going to sit here and sort of pretend that sometimes you can wax lyrical about the opposition, and it helps you feel better about your team because you were like, oh, we weren't that bad, they were just that good. We were also quite poor going forward. I thought defensively we were solid enough. I mean, we restricted Charlton to little. If any team was going to win the game, it was Charlton. Like, I'll be completely honest. Rob Apter, who was brilliant. Really like him. Really good player. He was playing wing back, right wing back. He had a chance that was saved. There was one where Vitek made himself really big from a set piece or a long throw or something like that. And yeah, if any team was going to win it, it was going to be Charlton. Second half, we created niche. We hit the post once, and that was it. There was no sustained period of dominance or possession or sort of any real chance creation. There was pretty much nothing. So really disappointing attacking display, and one that was frustrating for everyone, and one that I'm hoping, God, I don't want to, God, it was boring at times as well to watch. So one that I'm hoping is just sweep under the carpet. 4 points from 2 games is not a bad start at all. And if we flip the score lines, I'm going brilliant, fantastic. If we flip the score lines in both games, that is. So yeah, look, I'm not sat here doom and gloom and going to be all negative because Charlton did a job on us really. And if they nick it 1-0, am I complaining a hell of a lot? No, not really. So it was good to keep a clean sheet and good to just get out of there with a point, I'd say. So yeah, that's I think we're still learning, we're still adapting. Look, it's a big change from what it was from Liam Manning last season, the style of football, and yeah, we're going to have games like that. My biggest sort of gripe would be we kept trying the same thing second half, in particular second half, which was every goal kick just went long, just went direct, and it's just like, it's not working. So why do we keep persisting with it? And that, I think, really sort of ticked me off a little bit second half, because it was clear Charlton, they were so happy and so comfortable. Just head it, click it, clear it. I mean, you know what to expect from a Nathan Jones team. They're not going to be They're not going to be fussed if they have to clear crosses or set pieces defending them. They're going to be perfectly happy doing that. So for us to not realise that in the second half and just boot it, pretty much, it felt like, onto the head of Amari Bell or Lloyd Jones, and just be like, "Yep, there you go. Here's your bread and butter. We're not gonna do anything different." And that was, I think, a really frustrating one. But look, whatever. 0-0 at home, clean sheet, first clean sheet of the season in the league season, and we go again, I guess, at Derby, which now is probably a decent time to play Derby because of all the injuries they have. So we're going to lose 3-0 again.
I was just thinking that. I hope it goes better than last time.
Yeah. If it goes worse than last time.
Yeah. 4-1.
4-0. But yeah. No. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. A disappointing, frustrating watch. And yeah, just not good to watch. And I don't want to watch games like that too many times this season, because then I'd be pretty bored pretty quickly.
I think, to be fair, I could understand it if when you're playing... This is going to sound weird considering you scored 4 goals against them, but I can understand it away at Sheffield United. I can understand it, like when you're up against the teams that are meant to be near the top. But I can understand it, like when you're at home to a team that has just got promoted. I think if it was Charlton away, then I could sort of get it, because obviously away from home, a promoted team, it's very, very difficult to play in those circumstances. Out of interest, what do you feel like your perspective would be if, say, the results were swapped over? Say if you drew Sheffield United and
perfectly happy.
Home, obviously people are going to be happier, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean,
which sounds weird because it's the same points, but it's different context.
Yeah. And the fact that we've won both of our first two, we've won the first 2 games of the season. We beat MK Dons in the cup as well. So the fact that we've not been able to beat a team who I still think will be worse away from home than they will at home. I think at the Valley they'll be pretty flawless, Charlton. I think I'll not lose many games. No, not many teams will go to the Valley and win this season. Put it this way.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think that is a little bit frustrating. Yeah, okay, we couldn't figure out how to break them down, and that's been a Bristol City thing for absolutely centuries. It's felt like we can't break teams down, and just like, oh, we try the same thing over and over again. It just doesn't work. Cross into the box, yeah, doesn't work. Oh, try to pass them, yeah, can't do that. I don't have a creative players are not at it, and go and beat Sheffield United away 4-1. No disrespect to Charlton, can't beat a newly promoted team at home. The lowest ranked team in the division, coming into the division, can't beat them at home. So yeah, hopefully it's just a little tiny little blip, and we get back sort of back rolling away at Derby next weekend. But yeah, sort of frustrating, bit boring to watch.
Absolutely.
Basically, what Annie's saying is announced Derby 0, Bristol City 5, Fulham 1, Bristol City 3 in the League Cup, and then like Bristol City 1, Hull City 1, or something like that.
Listen.
To be fair though, it's kind of a championship thing though that I've noticed it, like where you can win game, and it's not just it's a lot of teams. You can literally go and win at a place where you're expecting to get absolutely nothing, and then obviously on the flip side, when a team comes and defends a low block basically against you, then you end up losing 1-0. You know, it's quite the thing I always get frustrated is where obviously when teams set up against you in a low block, but then you find a way to concede and then give them something to hang on to. So while this might sound very small time, what I'm about to say, at least the good thing is in that situation you get a 0-0 at the very worst. You make sure you don't, as boring as it might be, given Annie's just little head lob there, but either way, make sure you get something out of it. But it wouldn't surprise me knowing Bristol City, and probably wouldn't surprise Annie either. They'd probably lose to Derby with all their injuries and everything else, and then they go and spank Fulham in the cup. You know, that's just how it works.
But I will say this to end the City conversation. I don't want to see us play long ball. Like I cannot be asked.
You don't? I think it's mint me.
No, I can't. I can't be asked. Honestly, I have seen. Oh, honestly, I can't. Oh, God. Look,
don't leave on a downer, Annie. Let's try to finish on the high, okay?
Look. When Liam Manning was appointed, I was so excited to see, a Bristol City team that was on the front foot, playing on the deck, and just sort of taking the game to the opposition rather than waiting for the opposition to come onto us, and then we'll spring on the counter attack. Oh no, I can't be asked there with long ball. And I know a lot of our fans are like sort of hiding a little bit and going, "Oh, the Manning football was terrible. It was boring to watch. We just passed it around for 90 minutes, not going anywhere." I don't care. I'd rather watch that and be in control of the game rather than not be in control and look at threat of conceding. You know what I mean? Have absolutely no clue what we're doing going forward. I don't want us to turn into that. And look, I don't think Struber wants that either. And that's the thing. I don't think we want games to look like that in the second half. But my God, it was painful and brought back some horrendous memories. Like for one season, I'd not seen Bristol City play long ball, and I was like, "This is fantastic to watch." I mean, I can't. And then, literally, 45 second half of last season gave me so many traumatic memories. I don't want to live through that again. Please, Mr. Struber, please don't make me put me through that.
Fair. Listen, and briefly, Annie, especially from tomorrow, it's going to be 2 weeks left to the transfer window closes. Do you expect any more incomings that needs to be strengthened in the squad?
So the thing with us is we've got numbers everywhere. We've got a bloated squad. And the problem is I am looking at the squad and going, the depth is nowhere near it for some positions. The forward position, I'm unconvinced. And the left back position, and the forward position are the two positions I'm looking at going, there might be movement there. So in the forward positions, you've got Emil Rees, who's a new player. He's obviously going to start most games for City, if fit. And then after that, you've got Sinclair Armstrong, Fally Mayulu, you've got Sam Bell, you've got Harry Cornick, you've got Ephraim Yeboah. You've got 5 options there, pretty much. Now, on the face of it, that's like you've got way too many. And yeah, we probably do have a little bit, like 1 or 2 too many. But the problem is, I'm looking at those 5 and going, I'm not seeing anything from them to suggest that they're going to be good enough to step in if and when Emil Reese is having a bad game or is injured or suspended or whatever. I'm not having that. I'm not really getting it from anyone. I've not seen enough from any of them. So that's where I'm kind of having a little bit of a, do we sign someone but have a completely bloated sort of forward line, or do we just leave it and hope for something? Hope that one of these five. I think there's only five. I think there might be one more. Hoping that one of these five step up. And look, there's potential there. Sinclair Armstrong, Fally Mulu, Sam Bell, Ephraim Iboa, all young. Harry Cornick sort of getting on a little bit, but still, if he can produce them, fantastic. Now we saw in Naki was last season. But yeah, that's I'm looking at that. So in terms of squad numbers, we're looking good. The left back position, obviously Cam Pring's injured, who's our starting first choice left back. He's injured for a while. We're kind of playing Ross McCrory as a left wing back. No, we're not. That's a lie. We're playing Yu Hirakawa as a left wing back. Ross McCrory played there last season at points and did quite well, actually. But they're not natural wing backs or left wing backs. So the other option is Hayden Roberts, but he's not being picked because we think he might be on the move out and probably isn't good enough either. So you've got scope for there. It's got scope there. Apart from that, I think we're pretty set all over the pitch. We've addressed the goalkeeping department because Vitek signed on loan, and he might well be Manchester United's best goalkeeper. Who knows? And he's at Bristol City. So I think we're pretty.
That might change a bit if they do get a certain Italian goalkeeper from a French club that is being put onto the side. So that
doesn't touch Vitek. Anyway, I think we're pretty set all over the pitch. Apart from, I've got concerns over quality rather than numbers. Put it that way.
All right. Okay. Annie, thanks very much for your review on yesterday's game between Bristol City and Charlton. And that's come to the end of the show. Let's go through the tables at the moment in the Championship. We see here that Stoke City and Middlesbrough and West Brom are still the only three teams with 100% record. Bristol City, Coventry, Burnley make up the playoffs, while Leicester dropped down to 12th place. Norwich, dropped down to 12th place after losing yesterday, and also a good start for Hull and Charlton as well. One of the promoted clubs, Charlton and Birmingham, at the top there. And then in the bottom half of the table, oh dear me, it's looking really down for the Sheffield clubs at the moment. With both of them at the bottom of the table. I don't think we've ever seen that before for quite a long time. So yeah, as well, Ipswich Town with the only team with 2 draws in the bottom half of the table. Wrexham, Oxford, Blackburn, still winless.
Who would have thought, by the way, that you would have had 3 of the parachute teams in the bottom 13, even after 2 games?
Yeah, you never knew that could happen, but it's hard.
The caveat is it is only 2 games, of course, but still, it is just. I just thought it was interesting to point out.
Yeah, no, absolutely as well. It is interesting to point out. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed as usual. And good to see you back after the new season. We hope to see you again next Sunday as well. And same to you as well, Michael. I know you had a very good week as well. So
no, thanks very much for that, and well done to Annie for getting for what happened with getting your results in midweek. By the way,
yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
So yeah,
thank you.
As I said, this is the show, but I am be back here on Tuesday with Doug with our new show, the 20 Premier League Review Show. We'll be back on Tuesday night around about 7:00 here on both the Total Leaving Home Football Podcast and the Dugout Football Channel as well. If you do miss this show, we will put this on the podcast through Spotify, Apple, and also Amazon Music, as we now just joined on there. So please keep an eye on our content as well during the week. If you want to keep subscribing, please subscribe to all of our channels as well. Because I have noticed percentages, but over 75% of you are not subscribed. Please subscribe to this channel as well, and also subscribe to Annie's and Michael's channel as well after the end of the show. But that is all we've got time for. We'll see you at the same time next week at 8 p.m. here on the Championship Review. Have a good weekend. Take care for now. Bye bye.